We are at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as we come towards the end of Porsche Carrera Cup North America. 14 corners, just under 2.5 miles. We go the wrong way down the start-finish straight of the oval, cut through what we make as turn one. There's a little cut through down there, and then onto what I call the infield straight, Tillman Boulevard in reality. Little bit of a twiddly bit before we go back on the exit of turn 2 and go back down the short chute to turn 1. Yeah, it's very odd if you watch the oval racing. We are ready to go racing. There are 40 minutes on the clock. There are 28 cars on the track, split into 3 classes. Luke Hartog in the white and green car on the right-hand side of the start-finish line as Jimmy Liebele alongside great qualifying from Jimmy. Shea Adam and Jeremy Hindorf. I've just renamed myself. Shea Adam and John Hindorf ready to take you through this in the front row. We're very close together. There's almost a touch there. As we cross the line, the countdown clock starts and Luke Hartog immediately dives to his right, trying to stay away from Liebele in the red, white and blue cars. They head down towards the first corner. Let's see if anybody overshoots and goes through the cut out. No, at the moment they've all got through. Luke Hartog has converted that pole position into the lead. Nicely done by everybody through into third. That looked like Alex Sedgwick in the JTX Autosport PT car.
It's been very clean racing so far. Very hard from Yves Baltas as he was trying to defend from Elias De La Torre and open the door for Saber Cook, and she has big contact with Elias, who turned down on her. Didn't quite realize that she was there, I would say, from Elias, but both cars managing to continue after the 4 got briefly airborne. Very exciting opening lap and mostly clean.
This was where she had the big accident that curtailed her season, the end of last year. Baltas side-by-side contact in the green and grey car as he turned in, but that white and grey car was there right at the apex. Do you know what? I think that's a racing incident. New fastest lap in Masters for Chris Palomo. Second place behind Richard Edge. He's taken over the lead in Masters. So Chris Palomo's had a bit of a mare, actually. He's dropped 3 or 4 places, and a couple of Pro-Am, in fact 3 of the Pro-Am cars have gone through, but he's responding. He's now a second away from the lead. Scott Blind in third, Todd Parriott in fourth, and Matt Holken in 5th now, so he's lost a position.
We now get a good look at the Pro-Am battle as that's coming back together nicely. Alan Metney had lit the afterburners, and the iFly car is indeed flying. Marco Cironi now has a lot of company right behind him, and again, championship lead going the way of Cironi. He's not fighting Metney at this stage of the season. He can afford to let Metney through and take the win, but Marco doesn't work that way. Marco likes to win races. He just needs to be smart, because the pink car that is behind Alan Metney, as Metney pulls out to try and make a move going into turn 1, the pink car is for the championship lead.
99 then down the inside. That's Alan Metney in the GT Silver car. Behind him, Marco Cironi. So that, as Shea says, is a pass for the Pro-Am lead. He's the pass for third position. That's a lovely manoeuvre towards the end of the lap by the Ryan Yardley driven number 78 Top Racing Performance. Alex Sedgwick will not be happy with that. That's it. Michael Cooper has been caught by Dan Clark in the green fronted era car. Leader Luke Hartog untroubled by these battles behind him, Shea. Yeah, absolutely right. A little bit of something. That is a little bit of a problem on the front of Chris Palomo's Kelly Moss racing car. The left front has been a wee bit of contact between that car and Scott Blind in the Ruckus racing machine, the number 45, the bright yellow car. Now that's a little bit awkward between those two. They know each other well, and that's left damage on that little frontal aero part that we talked about being on the track earlier on, which, by the way, our marshals cleared them very, very quickly indeed over at turn 7 and 8.
Now, we did just have a close call a moment ago, and it was Elias De La Torre trying to make his way around Marco Cironi. Marco turning into the apex at turn 1, realizing that Elias was there. Elias making the exact same pass on 2 different cars, just several laps apart, because he did the same thing with Moisey a few laps ago. The pass was ultimately made. It did cost Cironi a little bit of ground, and now Uretsky is closing in on him, but Elias is clearly trying to make his way further up the field and through this Pro-Am class.
Is walking a knife edge now. Comes through turns 2 and 3. Let's see if he's had the word from his team here. Now through turn 4. Big slide, losing the back end of that car. He's working the Michelins very hard indeed. Does he go all the way to the edge of the track? Yes, he does, but I think he stayed on the black, white and blue curbs. I think that one was okay, but look, he's under pressure from Scott Blind in the bright yellow number 45, and right there is the third place Kelly Moss, Chris Palomo. Then it's about 2.5 seconds back to Todd Parriott in the number 13 Kelly Moss car. So that is drama, and that is absolutely now for Richard in that blue and GT silver car. He has to be millimetre perfect, inch perfect. He cannot afford to go 4 wheels off anywhere on the circuit. Ahead of him, by the way, it's a great battle, Pro-Am, but the Masters battle is beginning to heat up, and Scott Blind goes to the right hand side. He got a good run out of turn number 14 and heads to the pit wall. He's being covered off by Richard Edge in the blue and silver car. There's a battle ahead as well, but let's keep our eyes on the Masters. That's a lovely move down the inside, absolute quality, and almost following through Chris Palomo in the number 68, the sort of purpley pink and silver car. That was quality, absolute quality, but he couldn't hold on to it, and back through into the lead for Richard Edge in the number 18. Lovely exchange there, Shane.
There's actually just been some breaking news, John, because at the bottom of the timing screen, we have a penalty for multiple track limit violation, 10-second post-race, Richard Edge. So that car, effectively, in the lead of the Masters class, the blue and yellow and silver car, does not exist. Now, somebody needs to get on the phone and tell Scott Blind in second, because he is the effective leader. He doesn't need to pass the car ahead of him on track, but he's competitive. So that'll be the big challenge for Scott Blind. Yeah, we've actually just had a car go around, and that was Matt Halcomb. He's dropped down to 6th in category, but remember, our effective leader is the number 18. The moments that he ran wide at turn 6, it doesn't take much, but race control is looking. Do you have 2 wheels on the racing surface, i.e. the darker stuff? The answer was no for Richard Edge, and the final time they broke the camel's back, well, it was just a straw, but it was enough as Ryan Yardley dives down the inside on Jimmy Lieber. Decisive move to take away the second position on the podium, and now he's checking out. That was very early on in the lap too. He had to have set that up coming down the straight.
I think he may have got a problem. Is that an issue with the car? He has air in all of his Yokohamas as far as I can see. Lieber into the pits. He's had to pull out a second. Ryan Yardley did make the overtake, but it looked a bit too easy, as Shay rightly said, at the early part of the lap. So Alex Sedgwick will come up into 3rd and on the podium for JDX Racing, but he's fighting Michael Cooper for Baby Bull Racing. They're just 0.3 of a second behind, and also Yves Baltas into the pits for ACI. So both of the ACI cars have come into the pit, Shay, in the Masters category. Now this might help Richard Edge, of course, because it's put a gap into him. Checkered flag for Luke Hartog. He'll win overall. For Kelly Moss, it's a reasonable victory. And he has got 8 seconds on the rest of the field. Ryan Yardley confirmed in second with 4.5 seconds back to Alex Sedgwick. I'm trying to do a bit of quick arithmetic for Richard Edge and to see how far down Matt Holcomb and Todd Parriott has pitted. So Matt Holcomb comes through at... that's interesting. So I need to see where Richard H finishes. I think Matt Holcomb's been lapped. I think Richard H is only going to drop down to 4th place, Shay, with that 10 seconds. Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Luke Hartog by 8.5 seconds from Ryan Yardley in 2nd. Alex Sedgwick in 3rd after a late race drama that saw Jimmy Libra 2nd place qualifier and standing in 2nd at the time pulled in to the pit lane. Michael Cooper, Zach Vanier, Dan Clark dropped back to 6th at the end. A few people struggling, I think, with performance at the end, from Colin Kaminsky, Michael McCann in 8th, Sabra Cook absolutely brilliantly driving up into 9th position, and Jake Pedersen makes up the top 10. Alan Metney wins in the green numbered class. That's the Pro-Am ahead of Efren Castro and Moise Oreski, 11th, 13th and 14th. Those drivers. Congratulations to Madeleine Stewart in 15th, by the way. We are ready for our second race of 2 this weekend for the Porsche Carrera Cup North America, as we head towards the close of what's been a super exciting and competitive season here in 2024. We are literally just outside the downtown area of Indianapolis in Speedway, Indiana. You all know where this fabulously historic track is. 2.4 miles or 4 kilometers around, 14 corners. We are going, every time we're on the oval, we're going in the wrong direction. So if you've watched the 500s here, then everything is turned around. So wrong way down the start-finish straight, down towards turn 4, which is our turn 1. Then we double back through the middle part of the infield and come round the wrong way back from turn 2 to turn number 1. Beautiful 2x2 formation, 40 minutes on the clock. Are you ready to go racing? Flat 6, 4 litre, normally aspirated, 500 horsepower in each of these cars, and we're green and racing. The weekend of the TireRack.com Battle on the Bricks. This is Porsche Carrera Cup North America. And Luke Hartog weaves one way or the other. Alex Sedgwick stays in it, tries to go around the outside in the red car. He'll have the inside for turn 2, but he's pushed wide. And that allowed Dan Clark, I think, to come through into 3rd place. Ryan Yardley tried to tough it out just a little bit there, but Clark was the better. Starters from the front, and already a spinner down the field. John Getz, who finished the last race in the pits, has had, I think, a coming together. Michael Cooper was the car sliding around. What happened in the mid-pack? Oh, it was just a coming together.
There was a moment there for Colin Kaminsky, who went off at turn 6. Did he maybe just drop a wheel on the grass under braking? Let's see. No, he was ushered out.
Eased. Yeah, he was eased into it, wasn't he, by Yves Baltas in the ACI Motorsport. 2 GT silver cars going side by side past Jordan Wallace, who's the leader in class. One of them, the 99, the second of those 2 GT silver cars, is his competitor in the Pro-Am class.
And we've got a drive-through penalty that's just been issued, John. Yves Baltas, incident responsibility with Colin Kaminsky, that ultimately resulted in Kaminsky sideways in the barrier at turn 6, will mean that the 15 comes down the pit lane. Now, Jordan Wallace does not need to fight off Madeleine Stewart. She's in a different class than he is, and by fighting her, he's actually slowing himself down and opening the door for Alan Metney, and there goes Metney. Is off the track is Michael Cooper. Where is that? I think that was turn 2 or 3. Oh, and quite a bit of tire rub on the front of that baby bull car.
1, 2, 3, 4 across the track. Remember, he was battling with Yves Baltas. Baltas has got ahead,
that was Zach
and there was a
Vanier.
little bit of a bump, and was Vanier, excuse me. Yes, Vanier had got ahead in the black and white car, but there was contact, and they both actually went off the track in front of the field. Luke Hartog has just on 0.8 of a second between the red car, himself and the red car of JDX's PT Autosports Alan Sedgwick. Then Dan Clark and Ryan Yardley are battling for the last step on the box. Metney goes to the right hand side, that's the long way around into turn 7, but of course if he can't get the overlap, he might be able to make the inside and turn 8. He can't, and here comes that car Shay was talking about, Jeff Mosing for top racing performance. It's a 3-way scrap, this little battle pack now, and this is for the Pro-Am top 3. Richard Edge in Masters is not that far behind, you know, and he's got his ACI Motorsports teammate Matt Holcomb with him. Richard really should have won yesterday. Dan Clark still holding off the black and gold number 78, Ryan Yardley, for top racing performance. They are battling for third and fourth, with Jimmy Liebler, the red, white and blue car, trying to come through in the background. Side by side, Metney in turn one in the iFly GT Silver number 99. That is a colour that you can buy your Porsche 911 in. This has been a really good drive by Jordan Wallace. He's feeling the pressure now a little bit more, Shea, because he's in the middle of the road, going into turn 7 and round the outside. For Metney, he'll get the inside curb of turn 8. He might be able to convert this, and here comes Jeff Morsing as well. Oh, that's brilliant stuff from Metney. He had to tough that one out. And just behind that top 4 battle for Pro-Am, Richard Edge is still having to deal with Efren Castro. But how about the battle for now a third place? Efren Castro's gone through on Richard Edge. They're not in the same category, and he's in that black and white car, caught up with Jeff Morsing. That is Ryan Yardley for top racing performance in the black and gold TCS sponsored machine. Now these two drivers, they just want the position, and Dan Clark will be a little bit disappointed he's not battling for the lead, but he's not going to give up this third position at all easily. He stays to the pit wall, now moves back to the middle at turn 1. Yardley's got round the outside, and he now there was a contact there, and still Luke Hartog doing a Luke Hartog job, and from being nothing, being 0.8 of a second, then all of a sudden it was 2 seconds, and right now it's 3.197 seconds at the line. Battle with Jordan Wallace going down the inside of Zach Vanier. They aren't battling for class, and Jordan Wallace wants to get closer to his Kelly Moss teammate in Pro-Am. At the moment, it is a Pro-Am. Well, just as I said that, Efren Castro falls off from third position in Pro-Am. It was, till that point, a Pro-Am podium sweep for Kelly Moss racing drivers, but Efren Castro in the 65 black and white car has just spun that away.
Meanwhile, at front, championship implications, Luke Hartog leading the way. Well, this is big, because the champion for each of the past Carrera Cup North America seasons has won at Indianapolis. Luke Hartog would be the only driver to have won at Indianapolis, meaning if the pattern's going to continue, and you know how I love patterns, Luke Hartog is going to be our 2024 champion.
Alan Metney still holds sway for the moment in another Kelly Moss car. It's Kelly Moss, JDX and Era at the front of the field. Kelly Moss, and top in Pro-Am, ACI, and Ruckus. As the leader comes to see the white flag, we have 2.4 miles for Luke Hartog, who puts a lap on Javier Ripoll in the Momenta FMS Motorsport. Alan Metney with a comfortable lead coming into the last lap, over 7 seconds on his teammate Jordan Wallace. The two Kelly Moss drivers then for Pro-Am, with Jeff Morsing another almost 6 seconds further back. Masters, Richard Edge will feel as though he gets his just desserts.
Oh no.
Oh, into the pits. Who was that coming into the pits there? We'll sort that out in a moment. Indianapolis Motor Speedway belongs to Luke Hartog for Porsche Carrera Cup North America. The Kelly Moss racing driver has claimed both of the victories, both of the pole positions, and he's taken the fastest lap in this second race as well. It's a practically perfect weekend for the championship leader, who stretches that lead. In Pro-Am, Alan Metney is another Kelly Moss winner as he comes through to the end of the lap now. With
But
just
Jeff
a couple
Mosing
of
had an
corners to
issue
go.
on that last lap, John, and he has dropped from
No.
P3 to P6, and that has championship implications because it's moved Moise Uretsky up to 3rd, Marco Cironi to 4th. So even though Alan Metni is coming to see the checkered flag, our championship battle is now a 3-way fight. Congratulations, Alan Metni, on 2nd win of the weekend.
So both of our Pro and Pro-Am winners were double winners. And actually, I was going to say Richard Edge crossed the line twice in the lead, but he didn't. He actually pulled over in the first race because he knew he had that 10-second penalty that would drop him to fourth position. It's tight on the line for the Masters category. They come up 20th, 21st and 22nd, and there's only half a second between them, but Richard Edge heads home and ACI 1-2 with Matt Holcomb behind him, and Scott Blind right there at the end. Into the pits at the end, Angel Benitez pulled the number 5 car in. He was a lap off the lead, but he won't come down. He won't see the checkered flag other than in the pit lane. So Luke Hartog then, as I said, Mary Poppins weekend, practically perfect.